To Canterbury now, to admire the art of heraldry and to discover what a coat of arms can reveal when looked at with the benefit of a lifetime's research.
Well, heraldry is the science, and indeed the art, of using and creating coats of arms. Now, a heraldist is someone like me who looks into coats of arms and investigates them. A herald is a very specific term for one of the salaried employees of the Crown who work in the College of Arms in London. And the heralds work through Her Majesty's authority to regulate all the use of heraldry in this country. So anyone using a coat of arms should theoretically seek permission from the heralds to do so. And if they don't, they're offending against the prerogatives of the sovereign. Up to a few years ago, before they abolished the death penalty, it was theoretically possible for the heralds to execute people for the misuse of heraldry, though, as you can appreciate, they haven't actually done that for quite a long time. We've been asked to solve lots of mysteries over the years, and this is one of them. This is a coat of arms which was brought to us. It's quite old, as you can see, but we had no idea what the coat of arms was. Now, it's quartered. It's not just one coat of arms, it's many put together on the same shield. The way to identify the arms is to break it down into its constituent parts. And this coat of arms here, the main charge are 2 bars. Now we go to one of the main tools of the trade, which is Papworth's Ordinary, and look up the section to do with bars, which is here. Now the bars are between 3 of these objects, which are in fact fails, they're arrowheads. So you look under bars between fails, and lo and behold, there are only 3 coats of arms, and the one which we wanted was the Colegrave family. We then go to a book called Burke's Landed Gentry, where there is a family tree of the Colegraves, which you can see here. This gives a whole pedigree, and it shows all the different heiresses who've married into the family. And the heiresses' coats of arms are the other coats of arms which appear here. So in other words, each time they marry an heiress, her coat of arms goes into the overall achievement of the Colegrave family. Now the fascinating thing about this is that the book tells us the Colegraves lived at Can Hall in Leytonstone in Essex, and that used to be beautiful countryside. But it's now really built up and urbanised. And if you look at the street map of Leytonstone, you can see that practically every road name in Leytonstone comes from one of the families of heiresses who married into the Colegrave family. So in other words, when they named the streets, they knew about the history of the family who'd lived at Can Hall. So this coat of arms explains why modern Leytonstone's got all the different road names it has. Now, we revealed a lot of secrets when we looked into this Victorian vase, which was originally found in a junk shop. Now, what can you learn about an object like this? Well, you can learn about it by identifying the coat of arms and finding out who the family were. Now, we used Papworth's Ordinary again, and we found out that it was owned by a family called Stanier Broad. There's in fact a little date on this vase as well, 1859. And it turns out that was the date of the 21st birthday of the heir of the family, Francis Stanier Broad. So this was basically made to commemorate Francis's 21st birthday. Now the family were an interesting family. They lived in Staffordshire and they were basically industrialists. Now you'd think that Victorians were ashamed of industry, they never made a big thing about it. But this family were really proud of the fact that they were industrialists, because on the back are pictures of their forge and their colliery, which were pumping out all this black smoke into the black country of Staffordshire. And they were really proud of that, and they were so proud they put it on the vase in addition to the family coat of arms. Well, a lot of people think that because they've got the same surname as a family with a coat of arms, that they can use the coat of arms. Well, that's no more true than saying, well, my name's Smith, so is yours, so I'm going to use your car. You can't do that. A coat of arms was granted to a specific individual, and the right to use that coat of arms goes to the male line descendants of that individual only. So if you're not a male line descendant, you can't use the coat of arms. Originally, heralds were employed to create coats of arms for knights, so they could be identified on the field of battle. If you look at the Bayeux tapestry, you see all the Norman knights in their chainmail, and there's nothing to tell one from the other. And there's one scene where they think William the Conqueror's dead, and he has to lift up his visor and say, look, it's me, so people will recognise his face. Well, about a century later, they started to use coats of arms, so you could tell who was who, so you wouldn't accidentally kill your friends. And also so the heralds could go around afterwards and identify the mangled bodies if their faces had been mashed beyond belief. Later on, it became very much a status symbol. Families who had made it, particularly during the 100 Years' War, people who'd made a lot of money by being merchants, wanted to become knightly, they wanted to become landed gentry, and they wanted to ape the older families of knights, so they wanted to have coats of arms. So they'd go to the heralds and say, well, we've got lots of money, we've got a big estate, we want a coat of arms to go with it, and the heralds would grant them one so that they could match up to that same sort of status. Later on, when people didn't fight in battles in the same way using armour, it became much more what we call paper heraldry, which is to identify anything. So you'd use heraldry on flags, on gravestones, to put in book plates, any occasions where you want to identify yourself. People come to us for two real reasons when it comes to heraldry. One is they want to know if they're allowed to use a coat of arms, and that entails us tracing their family tree back, generation by generation, to see if they're descended from someone to whom a coat of arms was granted. Now the other reason they'll come is that they've got a picture of a coat of arms, or an artefact with a coat of arms on it, and they want to know more about the arms and the artefact. So that's when we try to identify the coat of arms, identify the family, and then see what we can learn about the object it's on. So if you want to research coats of arms properly, you can go to your local library, and books like the ones I use, Papworth's Ordinary, and some of the armorials will be there, and also books on how to do heraldry properly. It's important because it is an absolutely living link with our past, right the way back to the Tudor period and into the Middle Ages. It's continuity for the families who've had a coat of arms all the way through, and it's something which is new for families who've just acquired arms and are going to carry on using them into the 21st and 22nd centuries.